Well, welcome back, ladies. Welcome to this week's episode. I hope everyone is well. If you watched my last week's video, and I'll put it over there, maybe, yeah. I'm moving, and so today I want to reveal how I am selling my home. And obviously, as a realtor, I am selling my own home, but more importantly, how I am dealing with all the stuff that has been accumulated over the years in these four walls. Um, I can't say, I started a long time ago after my caregiving role was complete. And I can't say this whole process has been easier, as it's been easy, but I have broken it down into two separate areas, two separate mindsets. And that's what's enabled me to move forward with this. And the first thing that I have done is, well, those two things are the physical side and then, of course, the emotional side. And that's how I'll address these two events in this video. In terms of the physical side, as I said, I started doing this a long time ago. And when I say a long time ago, years ago, because I just realized that I needed a clear out. I needed a shuffle. And I didn't have moving in mind. I just had, I need to declutter. I need to shift all this stuff. And I literally went from room to room and I asked myself two questions. I asked myself, do I like this thing, this piece, this knickknack, out, and or do I use it? And I was very, very clear cut in this whole, in that process. And what I determined was there were pieces of furniture that were from my youth, old bedroom furniture, so they were good quality. They weren't all this pressed wood, but they were good quality, but I didn't really like them any longer. They were a part of who I was, sort of, but I didn't really like them. They were too big and bulky, and at that time, everything matched. And it wasn't my style. It wasn't something that I wanted to live with. So what I did was, first I determined what those pieces were. The second thing I did was I contacted, I think it was the Salvation Army or one of those charity organizations, and I asked them, A, if they wanted or needed the item, and if they would collect it. And also, in the case of one or two pieces, I put it on Facebook Marketplace. There are advantages of both. When you use a charity shop, if you can get somebody to take the item, it's done, and you don't have to deal with it any longer. But sometimes the charity shops will not take items. So it's a matter of making a lot of phone calls and doing a lot of investigations, but that's why the internet exists. So that's what happens when you deal with a charity shop. But when you use Facebook Marketplace, that's pretty laborious, and because you have to take pictures of the item yourself, and then you post it on Facebook, on the Marketplace, and then you deal with all the incoming inquiries, and then, something I didn't like doing, but hey ho, somebody had to come to my home and collect the item. And when that was the case, I always let someone know, a neighbor or a friend, that this was happening, just in case, just in case. So that's how I dealt with the big items. And as I said, I was really, really strict with my, do I like it? Will I use it? And I never, ever had the mindset, will I use it in the future? Because in my mind, that's too wishy-washy. And also, it's an excuse. Because if I didn't use it today and I didn't use it last year, what in the world makes me think I'll use it in 3 years' time? So that was how I made my decision. I also got myself sticky notes and put the sticky note on the item that I wanted to pass on, really pass on to someone else. And once that sticker was placed on the item, there was no going back for me. And that's how I dealt with larger items. And I got rid of, I passed on a china set, uh, a lingerie chest of drawers, a large chest of drawers, and two side tables. I passed on a lot of items that I just felt I needed to clear out. Then in terms of the smaller items, well, what I did again, I asked myself those two questions. Do I like this item? And am I using it? Not will I use it, but am I using it? And if I didn't, well, then I just determined I would pass that on. And it was more laborious in that instance because I had to physically pack everything up. I remember packing up glasses, crystal from I don't know, it must have been the 1930s or 1940s. Um, but it was something that I wasn't using. And so what was the point of keeping everything? But it was laborious. I had to pack up everything, get the boxes, and take it to a charity shop. I made the decision then that I wouldn't charge for anything. I wouldn't try to get money for anything because I just felt that the money will come a different way. And that has always been my mindset, and it continues to be my mindset. So that's how I dealt with the physical side of what I was getting, I was passing on. And that's really what I try and keep in my mind is that I have an item that I'm not using, but maybe somebody else could use it. Maybe they'll find some use for it. Maybe they'll sit at their dining room table with those crystal glasses and it'll bring them joy because it's not bringing me any joy sitting in the closet having to dust them all the time. So that's how I dealt with the physical items. As I pack up, I also wanted to mention that um, I went and I got boxes, and you can get boxes. I got them from Home Depot, and you can purchase those boxes, and pack everything up. And initially, I bought two sizes. I bought large boxes and small boxes, and started filling those boxes up. But I soon realized when I had to move those boxes that that was not the way to go because I physically couldn't lift them. So I had to unpack all the large boxes, which had all my books in them, but you can imagine the weight of those. So I had to unpack all those boxes, and I put them in small boxes. And then I was able just to lift them all. All those items and all those boxes over the last number of weeks, I've put into the storage facility that I mentioned last week. I've numbered all the boxes. And sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, but certainly next week, I'm going to take a list of all those boxes and make it a little bit better organized so I know where everything is. And so that was a big lesson I've learned. Small boxes, not large boxes, can't lift the large boxes. And that has been along, I also forgot, along the way, I've also found, and I mentioned it before, photographs. Uh, Lots and lots of photographs. Photographs that were people I didn't know. And a very kind subscriber put me in touch with somebody, actually here in the state, who takes all those photographs and stores them. Now, I wasn't convinced, and I had to actually speak to the person just because it eased my mind. Because I didn't want to just pack up these boxes of the boxes of photographs and send them off to a stranger. So I called this woman, sort of interviewed her, and I wanted to know what she does with these photographs. And ultimately, it's a hobby this woman has. She scans all the photographs. She categorizes the photographs. And then somehow she's got contact with Ancestry.com. So she's helped match people together, which again, that brings me joy. And so I'm so happy that I'm grateful to that subscriber. You know who you are. Thank you very much indeed. Because I had another route I was going down, but this is much more rewarding. And also, I found baby clothing that is about 100 years old. And again, what do I do with that? It's all fine work, craftsmanship. So I am working on finding a historical society that will take all that those baby items, because not that someone can use them, but maybe someone can learn a technique or a style from this batch of baby clothing. And interestingly enough, I found an old silk top hat, which I will pass on to someone. But I also found this three-piece suit. It's a man's three-piece suit. It's really, really heavy wool. And it's my color, black. And it has like a lovely goldish interior lining. And surprisingly enough, there was only one hole from, what are they called? Moths. So it was a really, really good order. So immediately I put it on just to see what it would look like. And lo and behold, it actually fit me, which was really, really woo-woo strange. And then what I decided, I thought, well, I can use this because it's nice and heavy and it's well made. The buttons are all covered with, material. Very well made item. I reckon this three-piece suit was either my grandmother's brother or her father, which makes it at least 100 years old. So you can imagine the quality. All handmade, really lovely. And I took these three-piece suits to dry cleaners, a local dry cleaners who specialize in this type of restoration, this cleaning. And also I put on it was like a waistcoat, and it fits perfectly. It's really strange. And I put on the trousers. Now I know from studying art and fashion that zippers weren't brought into the world until the early 1920s. And so these trousers don't have zippers at the fly area. But I put those on, and they just need to be taken down the 2 inches that's there. But I've got a suit. And once I get that suit, I will take a snap of it, a picture of it, because it's got history. And I think, oh my word, somebody is watching me put on this suit, their suit, and I'm off on my journey with history. I find it really, really rewarding again. So that's the physical side. I am either passing the items on to someone else who can use them. I am keeping the items. I'm passing pictures to someone who can, I'll make them available to someone else. The same thing with the baby's clothing. I am passing it on to someone who can learn from another skill. And also then the clothing, the man's suit, I'm wearing it. That's really, really joyful for me. And then of course I mentioned that there was the physical side of the moving of everything. And then there's the emotional side, which you and I know is the big, 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 not issue, but deterrent, maybe not deterrent, but it's something that we all have to deal with. And I did another video about that a long time ago, and if I can, I'll remember to put it there if I can find it. But I realized then, and I still have the same mindset, that those memories of all these items around me, the historical memories, are never going away because they're always in here. I can never discount the fact that this table I sit here at was actually a dining room table in a home that I grew up in. But it's always there. And I can't erase that. And that's how I'm dealing with passing on all items that I have no longer a need for, that somebody else will have a need for, and I'm letting them go. I suppose it's just like a relationship. I'm just letting it go and seeing what happens. And I'm not attached to those things. The items that are really important to me will go with me. Those items that um, have significant meaning to me and that I actually use. I have, that I actually use. And that's more important to me than lugging everything and actually paying for everything to be shipped wherever I land, to somewhere else to unpack and to deal with then. I recently found, where is it? In selling my family home, obviously it is the family home, and I feel very, very responsible, obligated. I just want to involve my family. So everything that I've been doing, I have um, expressed to family members because I just think it's really fair. I've never been told don't do this or don't do that, but I just think it's important to keep the family updated in what's going on and ask them maybe they want this item, which is the case. And some of the stuff is going with me in is being packed into a box, which is going to be shipped to wherever I land. But I just wanted to say that in the emotional side of this, sure, it's going to be challenging. Maybe that's not the word, but it's going to be, it's there. But my mindset is as I close that door, then I'm opening another door and another chapter. And I've done this before, and I will rely on my memories of doing it before and the adventure that followed thereafter. And that's how I'm doing this. And I ask you to consider the same thing. If there is something in your home that needs to be passed on to someone else, well, please do it, because it will lighten your load, and it also could hopefully put a smile on someone else's face. And isn't it a lovely thing to see that smile on someone else's face now rather than when you won't be able to see it? If you have any questions or if there's something that you would like me to dive deeper into, please let me know. I really appreciate all your comments because it is a great motivator for me, especially during this time. And I'd like to thank you very, very much. I wish everyone a good week. Stay well, stay safe. At this time, I always say prayers for Ukraine and prayers for all those in the Middle East. And hopefully my list will not have to get too much longer. Stay well. Toodles.